we come to the cyst and tumors of the jaw. So cyst and tumors of the jaw, which is there. So cyst, you know by the definition. So this is your collection of your fluid or the gases into a cavity that we call as the cystic lesion, which is there. So the common many cystic lesions there are enrolled in the textbook, which you have to write according to the classification: odontogenic cyst, non-odontogenic cyst, soft tissue cyst, epithelial cyst, non-epithelial cyst, accordingly. But today, of course, this is a rapid revision, so we'll have concentrate on the common cyst, that is your radicular cyst, the residual cyst, the dentigerous cyst, and the odontogenic keratocyst. Okay, and in the tumors, so ameloblastoma, CUT, central giant cell granuloma, and odontogenic myxoma, which are the more common. So the tumor or the cystic lesion which are there, so always they have a few common points, the clinical feature. Okay, so their differentiating features may be on the age, differentiating feature may be the radiograph, differentiating feature may be their clinical picture, So more commonly this will be always a slow speed, that means they are always a slow growing lesions. All these are the benign, so except the ameloblastoma which is there, this cystic lesion or the tumors always have a limited growth, so they will be not expand, except the ameloblastoma can be locally malignant also. It can be expand to a larger site also, but always they have a site limit, they have a slow growth, they will be always asymptomatic, won't be causing any pain to the patient, won't be causing any discomfort to the patient. Most of the times even the patient may come to us for only the disfigurement of the face. The patient gets complained that I have external swelling, no pain, nothing like that. But in the longer duration, if it is the teeth are involved, it may cause a migration of the teeth, it may cause a dimpling of the teeth, it may cause mobility of the teeth, it may cause the exfoliation of the teeth, it may cause change in the occlusion, and then if it is a secondary infected, then it will cause a pain. Any cystic lesion or the tumor may be secondary infected, and then the patient comes to us with a pain. But rather only a tumor or the cystic won't be causing much more pain, except the radicular cyst, which is inflammatory origin. Other these are all dentigenous origin, so won't be causing any pain to the patients. So this is a radicular cyst, which you are now only we have seen. So what you will see is that there will be a non-vital tooth, a carious tooth, or a non-vital tooth will be present. Okay, so this non-vital tooth, and there will be a loss of lamina dura, and there will be a huge swelling, a radiolucency involving of the region, and there will be a white cortications or there will be a radiopaque border surrounding to the. So clinically there will be, as I told you, a buccal or the lingual, there will be a cortical expansion, and this cortical expansion will, if it is very going towards the thing, will cause a thinning of the cortical bone also, and when it is causing a thinning of the cortical bone, then even you can, on the palpation, you will see that the fluid which will be there that can be experienced, that we call as the crepitus sound. Okay, so that crepitus, or we call as the eggshell cracking, that will be typically seen when there is an expansion of the cortical. So always in the cystic lesion and benign tumors, there will be an expansion of the cortical plates will be visible. And this also will be asked, if you want to see the expansion of the cortical plates, which radiograph you will take. So the radiograph which you will take to see the expansion of the cortical plate will be always, you have to proceed for an occlusal radiograph rather than any intraoral or the extraoral. So in the occlusal radiograph only you can see the cortical plate expansion, both either on the buccal or on the lingual side, which will be. So this is your radicular cyst. So clinically it will be a non-vital tooth. If it is a second infection, patient will come to the pain. You will see a discolored tooth. You will see a badly carious tooth. You will see the tenderness. You may see a mobility. You will see a lymph node. You may see sometimes a sinus formation. You will see a intraoral, extraoral, bony hard swelling with a crepitus. And when you take the radiograph, you will see the picture like this. You will see loss of lamina dura, and you will see a larger radiolucency more than 1.5 centimeter, which is surrounded by a radiopaque border. And when you try to aspirate it, the aspiration will be positive for the fluid. Okay? When it is a positive for the fluid in the radicular cyst or the odontogenic tumor, the keratocyst, or in the primordial cyst, or in the dentigerous cyst. Except the cyst like the aneurysmal bone cyst. This also will be caused, asked in the viva or in the objective. In the aneurysmal bone cyst, the aspiration will be positive for the blood rather than for the fluid. This also make a star asked in the objective type of the question, which of the following cystic lesion is aspiration positive for the blood. So the aspiration will positive for blood will always seen in a aneurysmal bone cyst or the ABC. Residual cyst, this will be seen the same if the cystic lesion is there and that tooth has been removed or even the lesion sometimes has been removed. So though the source which is there, that is removed one, but still the radiolucency remains there, it doesn't heal tooth a normal. Many times it happens that when you treat it with the marsupialization, when you treat it by the extraction of the tooth, it will heal to its normal position and the bone remodeling will come to normal without any much effort. This will be a natural process. But sometimes it may happen that because of some predisposing factors, it doesn't come to a natural and the cystic lesion remains there only. So that we call it as a residual cyst. So residual cyst, how to identify is that most of the time the surrounding to that there you will not find any lesion, your tooth. So the teeth will be missing so that it will be extracted or sometimes has been removed into that region. Okay, Sanju Subbu. Okay, this will be seen. Again here also, if there is a cortical bone expansion, aspiration, you will see that aspiration will be positive for fluid. Okay. Dentigenous cyst, this as I told you, very easy to identify. So this will be always associated with impacted tooth. So as it is associated with the impacted tooth, so the most common impacted tooth will be either the third molar or the maxillary canine. So this will be most commonly will be seen with the mandibular posterior, mandibular third molar, or it will be seen with the maxillary canine region. Okay. So it will be again extensive or the larger side radiolucency which will be seen. Radiolucency, again a well-defined radiolucency is seen which will be lined by a cortication like you see by a white border. Okay. So there are clinically, there are radiologically different types of the dentigenous cyst, but if it is shown, because sometimes this all these slides are which are there, it may be shown you in the your objective type of the questions or in your practical examination when you're going for your spottings. So one of the spotters can be such slides there, and then what we will ask the question is that identify the view, describe the lesion and give the differential. So we can identify as we are seeing it there, like it is seeing it there is IOP radiograph. What you see is impacted canine. What you see is surrounding to that well-defined radiolucency, and that in well-defined radiolucency, the complete bone is not resolved. So you will see even the remnant of the bone. So when it is a completely bone will be resolved, then it will be a frank radiolucency. And when the bone will remain, sometimes you will see such type of the radiolucency. Okay. And then it will be always lined by a radiopaque border. So there will be again same clinical feature, extraoral swelling, intraoral swelling. The site will be met. So if it is a posterior, then the mandibular posterior region will be affected. Extraoral swelling in the corner of the mouth, your corner of the mandible will be seen. Bony hard, and sometimes if the crepitations, you may have to proceed for the aspiration, and again that will be of a fluid which will be positive. But the diagnostic feature is that there will be a presence of a impacted tooth. Radiological and the clinical classification you will always know. Like this, you see the dentigenous site will be a different one. Okay, it may be extending up to the ramus, it may be extending up to the mid ramus, which you see here. You can see up to a mid ramus also, depend upon the lesion. Keratosis odontogenic tumor which is there, this also previously known as OKC, nowadays it is known as a recent one, keratocystic odontogenic tumor. Okay. Here also many times the aspiration will be positive for the fluid, but that fluid will be very, very thicker one. Like which you see in the primordial cyst or you see in the dentigenous cyst, with a thin needle also you can aspirate it. But here sometimes you may not have a bone biopsy type of that, like the FNEC, then only with the 18 gauge needle you can see it there. The main classical feature of this KOT is that this will be a totally asymptomatic. If it is not secondary infected, it will be remain in the lifelong without causing any problem to the patient. It may be sometimes a drifting of the teeth, like you see the teeth which are in the third molar, you will see that it has been drifted. Okay. In in the same one, or the roots you'll see that will be a drifting, or sometimes the root resorption also will be seen in few other cases. This also, and mainly in KOT or in the OKC which you have learned, is that there will be no expansion. So the growth or the spread of the tumor will be more on a vertical side towards the ramus or condyle rather than on the buccal and the lingual side. Okay, so that and the border which are there sometimes also will be showing you a scalloping type of the borders which you see. And this will be more always will be identified or spotted at the older age, maybe with sometimes with dental problem rather than with so there will be no external paining, there will be no external swelling as such. What we will see is that patient's complaints of sometimes loss of occlusion, or it is a second infected of pain. You take a routine radiograph and you will see that there is a radiolucent lesion. You ask the patient that there is a tumor, patient says, but I am not getting any discomfort of that. Even patient will not ready for the tumor also, the treatment also. This will be seen in your KOT. Another lesion as the calcifying cystic odontogenic tumor, as the name suggests, this will be more common again in the mandible and also in the maxillary canine anterior region. Along with the radiolucency which is there with the due course, with the chronicity of the disease, so there may be a calcification or the calcified part which is seen, like you see in this radiopachy. So this such type of the calcification is seen in that, then called as a COT, or this now as a calcifying systemic odontogenic tumor. So the lesions which you will be seen in the calcification either in the COT or sometimes it may be seen in the AOT also. So that will be a differentiating point which you will see. You will not see a frank radiolucency, but along with the radiolucency you will see some type of a calcification within the vicinity of the tumor. And the more important that we'll see always is the amyloblastoma. So the amyloblastoma most common, like more than 1 to 2% of the odontogenic tumors occupy only the community. Age varies from 20 to the older age, but most of the times it will be more common in the older age after 40 to 50 years of the age. This is called as the locally malignant because it can be extend up to the ramus or complete. The arch also can be extended, but very rarely it will be crossing the midline. It will be once it is on the right side, it will be expanded towards the right side only, and so it will cause the expansion of the cortical plates. It will cause the expansion towards the vertical. It will cause the thinning of the cortical plate. It will cause the pathological fracture. Okay, and the radiologically it can be a frank radiolucency also, or most of the times it will be showing you various radiographic features. Okay, so the radiographic features like you see here, you'll see that depend upon the small radiolucencies are seen, multiple small radiolucencies are seen. This we call as a honeycomb type of the appearance. This will depend upon the trabecular pattern which will be seen. This we call as the honeycomb appearance, and the same trabeculae or the round appearance, it is of a larger size, then we call it as a soap bubble type of the appearance. You can see the soap bubble type of the appearance. You will see this one of this one locule is there, one round locule, the another one is here. You will see this trabeculae. So this trabeculae will see a thinning of the trabeculae you will see, and the scalloping of the border, which you will be seeing, thinning of the border. You will see this lower border has become already a very thinner one. So the amyloblastoma, which will be seen clinically, again the same features, radiologically these features will be seen. So you will see the trabecular pattern, honeycomb type of the pattern, or you will see a soap bubble type of the patterns. It can be a unilocular also. It's not necessary that it will be always a multilocular. It can be a unilocular appearance also. It will be seen. Central giant cell granuloma, again it is a unilocular or multilocular. More common feature, how to identify this CGCG, which is that it will be always seen anterior to the first molar. So that means in the part of the mandible where the deciduous teeth are up to premolar. It may extend towards the molar, but it always originates towards the anterior side, and the age which is there, it will be always seen in a second to third decade of life. It won't be seen in a fourth or fifth decade of life. It will always seen it. Otherwise, it will be seen as a unilocular, it will be seen as a multilocular. It will be showing you the resorption of the bone, as you see with this white arrow. And then you can see this one locule here, one locule here. This we call as a soap bubble type of the appearance. Okay, and here also if you aspirate in the benign tumor, the aspiration will be negative. And once the aspiration is negative, that will be suggestive of the tumor rather than the cyst. Whenever there is a cystic or the tumor or any lesion, you see always before proceeding for the surgery, what you have to do is after the radiograph is the aspiration. Because sometimes if it is a hematological origin, like the tumor which is like, as I told you, the central hemangioma, or it may be a ABC or the aneurysmal bone cyst, that directly if you open it, it will be fatal to an individual also. So you have to always confirm with the aspiration that there is no blood as such, the fluid or nothing is there, then we have to proceed for the treatment. So central giant cell granuloma, classical picture of all the benign tumor will be seen. The differentiating points is the location anterior to the molar and the age second decade of life. Odontogenic myxoma, which is there again the most common tumor after the CG and ameloblastoma. What you will see is here again middle age molar region and the mandible will be more common. Extraoral swelling, everything is there, and when you take the radiograph, you will see that the trabecular pattern here which you see is all the straight trabeculae are present. So all over that the straight trabeculae are there, and these trabeculae are crossing each other. So the crossing each other, it forms a mesh or it forms a network. So this network or the French, this we call as the tennis racket type of the appearance. So this tennis racket type of the appearance, this also will be asked in the Viva or in the objective type of the questions various, in which you will see the tennis racket like the odontogenic myxoma, in which you will see the honeycomb like the ameloblastoma, which you will see the soap bubble like the CG, where you will see the calcification like the COT in such type of the picture. So this will be the typical feature of the odontogenic myxoma, which will be showing you a tennis racket type of the appearance.